up so you would see it. This is the kind of work done in the age of analog. If you look at this, you will see the post-adolescent writing of Randy Newman.
Oh, right.
On this piece called Vine Street.
Yes, of course, yeah.
It's in A flat.
Yeah.
And then the strings do a very good job on the entry, and the thing is just riddled with traveling sixths that they call traveling sixths, and for somebody who might not know, any variant.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
The thing is, this was formative. This was formative because what it did was brought that cachet of the blues into the parlor. The street comes into the parlor in music, and if the street comes into the parlor, and we can speak of people like Gershwin. Also, there's a guy worth your consideration called Willard Robison, Robison. He is the precursor of the white boy with the blues.
Yeah.
He's to me the fountainhead of a certain approach of fluency. It has to be fluent to make the case, because it must be born of some certain sincerity and not lost in just in a vernacular of the street. But anyway, that's this kind of music that what Randy was doing here.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
I was most amazed by it.
And right at the start, just before Vine Street, we hear the banjo, and we hear that lovely field recording or something.
Well, that is Blackjack Davy, and Blackjack Davy come riding through the woods, singing so gay and merry. He sang and he sang till the blue woods rang, charmed a fair old lady. And then tonight she'll sleep, and last night she slept on a warm feather bed beside her husband and baby. Tonight she'll sleep in the rain and mud beside old Blackjack Davy. That's the name of that song, Blackjack Davy. And it goes through the thing, oh man. So it's a ballad. It's what it is. It's a ballad from Appalachia. And my friend Steve Young, very fine.
Steve Young, the country, yeah. Steve Young, yes.
Very fine. I wrote the song "The All Golden" for him because I so loved him.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We shared a lot of embarrassment at that time.
Yeah.
When I walked into his house and he had a picture of Governor George Wallace. He was the guy who put the water cannon on the black people.
Yeah, Wallace. Yeah.
When he had a picture of him in his room with a Hitlerian mustache, and I knew that I'd met a fellow Southerner with whom I could communicate.
Right.
And we communicated together, and I love him to this day, like a brother.
Oh, that's a lovely story.
Hey, you know what I did?
What?
Just for fun? At this, let me see if I can find it there.
The cowboy poetry, Elko, Nevada.
Yeah, cowboy poetry.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere, Elko, Nevada, 250 miles from Salt Lake City, over 200 miles from Reno, is this little place with bordellos.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then the cowboys get together and they do. Blackjack Davy reminds me that's very much that tradition of extemporaneous, and a lot of learned poems of great length and beauty, like the bards.
Which is something that you. I mean, you've always been, as we all know, you're a man of words, and you always have been a man of words, and it's something that's becoming more and more important to you at this stage in your life. Isn't that right, or am I wrong here?
As what's the question? I don't understand.
Well, basically, you're writing. I believe are you writing poetry at the moment?
Well, I hope that that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think I would hope so. I wrote, for example, when the oil ship went down,
Yeah.
it was on page 7. You know that. Did you see me address in black gold my fascination with oil? Did you hear that song? Uh, if this isn't uh, intimidated by the likes of Poe or Phil Oakes, I don't
Yeah.
know what is. May I repeat it to you?
Yes, please.
All right, it's about a ship that goes down off the face of Europe and it tars the coastline of Portugal, Spain, and France, the
Yeah.
Bay of
Yeah.
Biscay. Okay, the song.
Yeah.
I had seen the captain drinking. I don't know what he was thinking when he took that stinking cargo out, without a doubt. He went too far, but he will take us out to sea. 80,000 metric tons of crude, a crew of 21 were pounding through the ocean, just to jar her screws in motion, all the stars rotating in their canopy. Black gold rolling in the hold, back and forth in time for every swell. Black gold time would now unfold, the heavens spent upon our last farewell to this black gold. Then she hit the water with a shudder, it had got her. As she went down, heard to utter was the captain in his cup, says, "What's up?" In my gut, I know we all are doomed. And then it goes on, and then finally it converts them into shark. Everything must be poetry that has to do with music. I think
Yeah.
that,
Can I applaud that, please? Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you for that.
but some people can do it with a word. And I think that that's the nice thing about the validation of the heart.
Mm.
We shall overcome is a great idea.
Mm. Mm.
So I wish I could be so economical.
Um, can I say that? I mean, you talked about your friend Randy Newman a while back, and when I saw Randy Newman about 2 years ago when he was in London, and he did this lovely little show in a church, and I got a call about an hour before he recorded with an orchestra in a church, and said, "Get up to this church. Randy Newman's about to record a 1.5 hour concert in a church with the Radio 2 light orchestra." And it was an invited audience, and I went up, and it was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful, terrific night. And one of the things I kind of I felt seeing him that night was, and one of the things I discussed with a few people is that we were kind of the tradition that he expounds, and he kind of utilizes a horrible word, and I have to say you do as well. There's a tradition and a genre that I think you guys are probably the last guardians of this. It's almost like you are holding a little bit of American history, and there aren't too many people who after you who will be doing this, and it's just are you aware of that?
Well, no, I don't. I'm not. I don't. I'm touched by your kind regard, but I'm not sure that I would wish for that. Um, Even having, I mean, looking in a rear view mirror at the American century, the windshield is still bigger for
Mm-hmm.
me. This is where my attention is. And but it makes things more
Mm.
complex about how to be identified with that thing, and not to dash anybody's hope in any regard, not to, as Jefferson said, not to overthrow establishments long established for easy cause.
Right.
So I've always tried to be, and I believe that the traction is in memory. That's where you get your land legs,
Mm.
kid. You know it.
Mm.
The traction is in memory. The ability. I mean, look at the elephants just for a second. Don't mean to get religious on you, but let's look at the elephants in their graveyards,
Okay.
contemplating in abstraction a memory, a history of community. It's a major, to me, lesson to humanity in its chutzpah wind tunnel of radioactivity.
Mm. Mm.
These are careless times, and
Absolutely.
music is here. And music is here to, I think, to prepare the 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 body, humankind, to a receptive, uh, um, harmonious
Mm.
relationship to all things bright and beautiful.
Would you agree, Van Dyke, that there's a one thing that I've always tried to do, and that is, first of all, you try to advance yourself as a as a writer or a composer, whatever you want to call it, whatever, and you try to discover you try to discover the music from within you, and you stay you remain a listener so that you absorb ideas and whatever. But when you actually do kind of assimilate some ideas and you actually do hit that nice that moment of individuality, that I've always liked to kind of I've always liked to kind of, not consciously, but I like to not to deny the strangeness. There's always a strangeness out there on the edge that it's nice to be there. It's nice to have that kind of slightly odd. What is that thing over there? That little odd moment, and and that's one of the things that when you said there is no music business, you're quite right. And one of the reasons why there is no music business is because they basically trashed the hell out of it for the last 25 years. And whatever that strangeness was, or has, that is it's essential. It's something that the business basically tries to wring dry. Or there's another odd thing that happens, and that is that weirdly. Now we're not talking about yourself or me here, but usually what happens is people make interesting records when they're young, and they don't make interesting records when they're older. This is in the rock and roll business, and that's a terrible thing. And I like the idea that there are a few people who still acknowledge the strange little blurred edges of what they do, and that it keeps it fresh.
Hey, Sean, I appreciate all that, and also I appreciate it that you're going to be available. Your album will be available in vinyl. Now
Absolutely.
I want to tell you something. This form here,
Yeah.
this form here.
Yeah. The 7 inch. Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do this summer. I'm
Wow.
putting out 6 CDs.
Yeah.
I don't have an album in me. I'm 68.
Right.
Not now. Maybe I'll get a chance to have some time off and do that.
Mm.
It takes time. It's time that's precious.
Mm.
But I'm doing 6 CDs,
Mm.
and I wanted you to know that they're going to be hi-fi stereo. They're going to be on vinyl,
Wow. That's fantastic.
and I will have them uh, offer them up so that no one gets the idea that I'm trying to be precious.
Right.
I will make them downloadable.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I want to go hi-fi.
Mm.
It means a lot to me to mix through an analog board.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, believe me, folks, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
It's an
No, no.
opportunity. And
It's
it's
wonderful.
rare and beautiful.
It's wonderful. Do you know something? Talking about analog, I've, I've, I, this is a funny thing. I know I love analog, and the High Llamas recorded onto tape up to about 10 years ago, and after 10, then basically the tape machines all disappeared and it became expensive to record on tape.
Yes, I understand.
But I read this wonderful book recently called The History of Recorded Sound, because even though I love analog, and I love the idea of magnetic of ionized iron filings on tape, and I decided to read this book because I realised I didn't know what I was talking about. I realised that I knew analog sounded great, and I liked the idea of analog, but to be quite honest, I couldn't actually really define the difference between the two. And I read this wonderful book, and this book tells you what's going on about the analog signal and the digital signal. It's
Well,
fantastic.
let's sell the book. Let's at least sell the
Greg,
book. What's the title of the book
it's
again?
called The History of Recorded Sound, and it's by an American chap called Greg Milner, Milner, and it's wonderful because it goes back to Edison, and it goes back to the gramophone wars and the gramophone cylinder wars. It goes back to the history of tape recorders and how Bing Crosby brought tape recorders to the United States of America via the Second World War. Basically, the only tape recorders that worked in the 1940s were basically commandeered by the Nazis, and they used them as their propaganda machines and they were stationed in Frankfurt. And there were two engineers, one guy at the BBC and one guy in the United States, and they knew that the Nazis had this thing called, it was a Magnavox or something like that.
That's right.
That's
right.
At the liberation of Frankfurt, these two guys made a beeline for this studio, and they found this effectively the world's first tape recorder, and this guy wanted to bring it back to RCA, and he wanted to install it, or was it CBS? I think it was one of the networks, and the network in question wouldn't pay for it. $50,000 it would cost, and Bing Crosby said, "I'll pay for it, because if this works, then that means I can tape my shows and I can edit my shows, and that means I can do 3 shows in a day. That means I have more time for golf." He paid for it.
You know what the word golf means?
No, tell me.
Okay, because I can only add a non sequitur,
Yeah.
but it's true. Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden.
Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. Fantastic. Wonderful.
That's
But-
of another. Of course, I don't espouse that.
Yep. So the modern music industry, in other words, once we had we had the facility to edit. We could edit tape. Therefore, the idea of multi-tracking and the idea of the modern music industry, it kind of was invented there and then on the spot. It's Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby came up with the money for that to happen, because that's when production happened, and it's just fantastic. It's a great story. It's wonderful.
Well, yes, it's beautiful. I reverenced him, you know that, with
Yeah,
an
of
effort
course.
called Bing Crosby.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can we
He would have been turning over in his grave, but he wasn't yet dead.
Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Did you like the strings?
Yeah, the strings and
I want to tell you,
the empty
you ain't heard
and the pans and the strings together.
The what?
The pans as well, the steel pans
Oh yeah.
in between strings. Yeah.
But what I did yesterday, no kidding, it's gonna twist your knickers. It's in the same area.
Mm.
I used 5 cellos
Jeez.
and 3 violin lines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you had 5
Yes,
cellos
I work
and
hard.
3 violins.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
It's good.
Multi-cellos is a great thing. Do you know, I've been listening to Villa Lobos quite a lot recently. I love Villa Lobos. I love him. I love a guy called Rogério Duprat. Do you remember him? He was a Brazilian arranger. And these guys, they use cellos. My God! And the Villa Lobos did just one particular piece, which was for 5 or 6 cellos. Absolutely fantastic. It's a irreplaceable sound. You can't get it any other way. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
5 cellos and 3 violins.
Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
wonderful.
Yeah. With it's my best work, and it's just yesterday.
And it's that clear. It's that clear in your head.
It's done, man. It's in the can.
My
It's
God.
gonna be. I'm gonna release it on May 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's what reminds me of it, aside from my usual self-insistence,
Yes.
is its calypso.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
I get to go back to that
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very, very big opportunity. I'm really happy with it, and delighted.
Tell me this. You know, when you were sort of investigating, the music of, like Lord Kitchener and Mighty Sparrow back then, those those that would have meant a lot more to us in the UK than it would have in America, because at the time because we had a lot of Caribbean people just come to the country, and people knew about it. I should imagine that in Ohio people would have said, who is Mighty Sparrow? What the hell is all this about? I mean, that's a fairly brave thing to do.
No, I mean Ohio wouldn't be ready for one of Kitchener's googlies.
Mm.
Uh, it would be Ohio would have said to such a googly, they would have said, "Was that a fastball? Where's my bat?" Ohio would not have gotten Sparrow.
Mm. Yeah. It,
Um, they wouldn't. But I tell you something. I wasn't thinking about Ohio.
right.
I was thinking about more immediate needs around of others around me
Mm.
when I did that. I've always had an ulterior motive because of I always respond to matters of heart. And that was what I thought was something to do. Very important to bring focus to those families. There were probably about 20 Trinidadian families in Los Angeles at that time, of some good chicken dinners when we were very poor to the
Wow.
Trinidadian community. Amazing.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Wow. That's a lovely story. That's a great. I can imagine. I can just picture it now. Um, and the something we haven't talked about is a record that Tokyo Rose. We haven't talked about Tokyo Rose, where you.
Why are you doing this to me? I feel
Because
I should be doing this to you. I'm on nail your ass, baby. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, these records. So, I like on Tokyo Rose. There's the Cowboy and Out of Love. Those two songs. I remember, again when they came out. I was, what I'd do is I'd hear the songs and I'd try to work out the chord patterns, and from working out the chord patterns, I go off and write a song, of course, which is what you do.
Well,
You listen to
excellent. That's
people.
what you do. That's why we're here to empower each other.
Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. But
My favorite artist, by the way, on the side, aside from the man I'm looking at, is Paolo Conti. He to me is the top dog, bar none.
well, that's something.
C O, yeah,
I have to
Conte,
investigate this.
and I want you to listen to his Reveries record. This is a guy. I'm sorry. I'm totally floored by this man and his ability. It just and talk about listening to something and then going off and writing a song.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Right. Oh, okay. That's.
He has a heart as big as a garbage can.
Mm. But that is what happens, as you and you can testify to that. That is what happens, and that if you haven't written for a while, or sometimes you just hear a piece of music, and you just say that is wonderful, and suddenly your spirit is enlivened, and you turn off the turntable, or you do whatever, and you just go to the piano, or you go to the guitar, or whatever. For me, it's the guitar. I stopped writing on the. I do write on the piano, but I love nylon string guitar. I love it. It's my kind of troubadour friend. It's a kind of. It's something that I just I know that when in 20 years time, when I can't pay any taxes and whatever, I still will have a nylon string guitar, and I'll quite happily sit on the wall and play for my supper. And
Yeah.
but that's what I love. I love just having that around, and just and writing into the night.
Well, that's the instrument. That's the instrument. I guarantee you. I have a nylon string guitar on my wall right here. I'll tell you the truth. Franz Schubert, kept a guitar on above his bed so that he could reach up in the morning and bring it down. So that intimacy and not and when guitar when Bob Dylan
Yeah.
in 1963 freewheeling Bob Dylan his first
Yeah.
album, the
Yeah.
Rolling Stones 12 by 5,
Yeah.
all these boys are coming forward playing steel string guitar.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I thought, why do that? It hurts your hand. How
Yeah.
do surgery after that? You have no sensitivity. So nylon is the world of
It
guitar,
is.
and
It is.
that's exactly why I like Fado. That's exactly why I go outside the box. It's to find these less strident
Yeah.
qualities, nuance, and power that are
Yeah,
available.
and the other thing you can do with the nylon string guitar is you can put it in the rhythm section, and it can be soft in the rhythm section. And you know, there's one thing that when I listened to Led Zeppelin and Deep
Yeah,
Purple when I was 12, and I got bored when I was 13. And you know,
but
the great thing about the nylon string guitar is you can put the softness of the instrument sits in the rhythm section very nicely.
hey, you know
And
what? There's a book out. I've only leafed through it. It's quite capacious book. The book is called Guns, Germs, and Steel. It has to do with the Western man conquering this hemisphere, the
right.
Americas, and how did 16 Portuguese soldiers with their blunderbusses intimidate a quarter of a million Incans and their emperor. It's just an amazing story about how we got here. And to me, a steel string guitar factors into an age that is just beyond just well just just about abuts the age of anxiety, and it's not a popular one with me. I like to go. I like the granola effect of and friendly the good vibrations of uh, other than metal,
Yeah, yeah,
and to find that and again in the guitar, I love the fact that uh, there is music without the guitar, but still employing the same guitaristic qualities is the trace.
yeah. That's a very good point.
In
And
Cuban music,
mm,
this double string
yeah,
instrument,
yeah,
the
yeah,
trace,
yeah.
no rhythm,
Mm,
but articulated lines providing this continuum.
mm. No, I think we're getting to the area here, which I think is um, if you can manage to convey a song, and okay, you're in 4/4, and you're conveying the song, but you're suddenly aware that you're not aware of the backbeat. I really like that. I mean, the backbeat is great every now and then, but suddenly you're aware that you haven't been thinking about a backbeat and you're in 4/4, which is, so much music actually had that for so long. And there's it's something that I have to, it does, I call it a tyranny sometimes when I hear a piece of music and I hear, you know whether it's in G or it's in A, and you know exactly what's going to happen, and you know exactly where the chord changes are going to be, and the backbeat is so obvious. As for me, it isn't listening to music; it's just a tyranny, and I kind of, I just wish this sounds. I suppose it sounds quite. I don't know. I hope it's not sounding arrogant, but I just wish there was a kind of a wider community of people that actually did that. That actually kind of created a texture that, as you said, maybe we didn't hear any guitars, even though they may be there. Maybe we can hear the sort of the bounce and the fullness of the chord being carried by something else, maybe by a harpsichord and a string section, or by a wind section, or something like that. These skills that were around, those skills that were around in the days of radio orchestras and variety and everything like that, it's they're still around, but I wish there was a wider community that kind of responded to it.
Well, anyway, the point is, it takes a lot of work. It's not for sissies. You have to work real damn hard if you want to get a room full of people together You got
Yeah,
to work hard. You got to work hard. It's
yeah, we
hard to
do.
bring the. Yeah, it's hard to bring those numbers together. Used to be there were rooms of in the age of Morley and Johnson. There were ages where people would convene and they would sing together
Yeah,
and stuff, and they would play together. And
yeah.
the thing that opened my eyes of my renaissance was I was still a sprout when I was a very young boy. The English madrigals were a big deal to me. Madrigals were a big deal, man.
Mm.
They, that was my dream. That beats sex, man. There wasn't any sex yet. And it was just great. It was perfectly understandable. The madrigal thrilled me
Well,
for all the parts in it. I would sing in these parts,
yeah.
and my heart would be on fire.
Well, you know,
Honest.
so
Big.
you'll be happy to know, Van Dyke, that actually, in the one good, one of the nice things about living in the UK is the fact that choir singing is still very much part of it's a normal thing in society. There are choirs, and I know a lot of my friends. That's what they do. They get to the age of 40 and they say, you know what, I'm going to join a choir, and they do, and it's great, and it's their
That's
and that's their social life. One night a week out at the choir, and you know these choirs are great. These choirs they're singing everything from the some of the Brock stuff to to the Verdi through to sort of things like Jonathan Dove, the kind of more contemporary things, and there's a lot of them, and it's a big thing, and so it's one thing we've got here is we've got thousands of choirs, and it's a social thing.
Now I want to ask you something
Yes.
because I get the impression that you're not a very self-promoting man. What are your plans? What are your plans at the release of this record? What are you going to be doing this
We,
year?
this year in about 4 weeks' time we're going to
When will
go
that
out
be? When is that?
uh, in May, early May. We're doing a UK tour, and we've got a couple, and then we've got maybe in July we've got about 5 dates in Spain, and then in
Mhm.
June we've got 2 or 3 dates in France, and possibly we hope to get to America, but it's just so hard getting over to America.
Well, I'll be in London on I think the 15th or 16th, early May. So let's be in touch.
Okay, well
So,
we're playing music then. We're playing music on the 22nd in London.
okay. I think I'm there on the 15th at Union Chapel.
Union Chapel.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Union Chapel. Wow, yeah. In Islington. Wow, that's fantastic.
It's
I'm in
not too
London.
it's not too large, is it?
No, no, it's a beautiful it's a high ceilinged church with a lovely it's kind of a it's not Gothic, but it's kind of a late mock Gothic window. It's an amazing place. It's
Is
absolutely an
it
amazing place.
is it too big for this codger rocker?
No, no, you will have
All right.
no, it's not too big. No,
It's very embarrassing to play a half-empty small room.
but the one thing I will say, Van Dyke, when you're in the Union Chapel, what what are you play? What piano are you playing?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay, the one thing you don't over amplify it. You keep it as acoustic as possible, and that's how you beat. Because if you over amplify it, it's a church sound is very bad when you put in too much gear. You
So
need to keep it.
you don't think that I should? I'm going to be working with a violin, a
Yeah,
cello, and a bass. And
that's
I thought with that, if I had a top of the line acoustic piano like
yeah,
an Avant,
yeah,
Avant,
yeah,
is what I hear is really good.
yeah,
It's smaller. You see, it doesn't appear so big,
yeah,
and then it allows you to be closer to the other musicians, which
yeah,
is a big deal to me. Look, man, I'm almost blind. I
yeah,
can't see a damn thing. I fight for vision. So that closeness is real important to
yeah.
me.
Well, that's fine. No, that lineup is going to be absolutely perfect for the Union Chapel. It's great.
Yeah.
That is exactly. Do you know who I saw in the Union Chapel before she died? Laura Nyro. I saw her do a show there. I think possibly her last show before she
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is going to be great. Three strings and a piano is going to be it's absolutely perfect for the Union Chapel. That's going to be very exciting. Am I in London or am I in Wales that day? I can't remember. Oh,
We're going to
well,
be in touch.
no,
You're
we're
going to email me. I'll tell you what night. I don't know what night it
are
is.
we in Manchester that way? We might be in Manchester. Touring. We might be in
Yeah.
Manchester.
Okay. Well, then call that an act of God.
Uh, um, yeah.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to Fred from the label, and a fine man from the city of Lisbon, or Lisboa,
It's
as we should say.
it's
Lisboa.
Lisboa.
Yeah, Lisboa. Yeah.
Well, let's talk photo, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Fred,
no.
Fred.
Is Fred disappointed in us, or are we having a
No, not
conversation?
at all. Fred's coming
No,
over.
no, I'm enjoying it.
No.
Yes,
Excellent,
very
Fred.
much.
Very
Fred
nice
put
of
me
you.
on. Fred put me onto a wonderful restaurant that specialises in fado about 2 years ago. We went to this restaurant where I swear to God, the kitchen is open, and it's almost like a little canteen, and then a little fado trio starts to play music, and guess what? You have the singer sings, and then when it comes to the chorus, she stops, and the kitchen staff put down their utensils, they wipe their hands in their aprons, and they sing the chorus. I swear to God, you think you're in a Hollywood movie. No, you're in a real restaurant and it's really happening. It's amazing.
Well, I suggest that that we cancel all other plans and get to that place.
Absolutely. It's just like...
Well, I mean, I want you to tell me the name of that place. Am I gonna be okay without speaking Portuguese, or are they gonna say Yankee dog you die?
Yeah. No. Fred's onto it. Fred says, right, he knows these places. They're friends of Fred. They're friends of Fred.
But let me know, Fred. Let me know where it is.
I will, yeah, I will.
Absolutely wonderful. So, yeah. So listen, where's your trip? Where are you heading to?
Well, I am one of 8 board members who advises a group called Haus de Culturen der Welt. It means House of the World's Cultures.
Okay.
It's Germany's largest arts organization. It's in Berlin. They don't pay me a dime. I go there, it's a once a year thing. I go there, business class, what Randy Newman calls the new coach.
Right.
I go business class, that is, my legs don't hurt when I arrive. And that's a 2-day affair. Then I go to, and they are contemplating a replication of a palace of the one-time King of Prussia, where it stood. Hosties managed to knock it down. There is a large piece of land there. It's going to hold a building 30 million square meters. That's larger than 2 of our football fields.
Right.
That'll hold the head of the Queen Nefertiti. It will hold a collection of over 100,000 wax cylinders gathered by the Humboldts as they discovered rivers and currents of the world at the apogee of Germany's imperialism. It's a huge opportunity for me to watch and witness such a cultural extension in Germany. I don't know why they've chosen me. I'm just very grateful and humbled.
Oh.
Then I go to Prague on the 10th of May,
Right.
and I record some orchestrated music. I did it, I must have finished it, I don't know, a year ago, and I'm supposed to go over there and be responsible for it.
Right.
And then that's recorded. Then I go to London for a day on the
15.
Oh, the session's on the 9th, on the 10th, but I go down the river from Berlin to Prague. So that'll be nice for me and my wife. At our age, it's a beautiful opportunity for us. And then we get to go to Prague and do this work, and then to London for a day on the 10th, then to Malmo, Gothenburg,
Okay.
Stockholm, Copenhagen. And then, and I'm not sure which order, Dublin and London.
Okay. Okay.
This is to kind of like let me go out on the road while I'm still physically able. I'm 68 years old. I've never really done this. This is fun. I hope people will feel I'm deserving of it when they
Okay.
leave these places because I work
Oh,
hard.
they most certainly are. That sounds like a lovely, lovely, lovely trip. And Berlin is such a beautiful town. That's where we mixed the record, Van Dyke. We mixed the record in Berlin.
Who did it for you?
I went over with my friend Tim Gain, who was in a band called Stereo Lab for a long time, and
Right.
together we went out to his little studio in Berlin and we mixed, and we put everything through. We put everything through. We were talking about the analog sound, and he's got analog preamps and compression, and
No, I could.
he's got a half-inch tape machine, and everything went through the tape machine, and so even though
I
it's
can,
digital,
yeah, I can hear that warmth
yeah,
of the record.
yeah.
That thing is just glowing.
Mm.
It's like you can hear that, you know,
And Van Dyke, everything, the whole bass. I have this old Fender Precision copy bass at home, and I've had a pair of, I have had a set of flat wound strings on that for 10 years. I never changed the strings, and I just basically have this one plectrum which just makes the right sound. And I can't remember the name of the guy. Who's the guy who played all the bass on the Fifth Dimension records? I can't remember his name now. There was the two. There's obviously Carol Kay, and there's this other guy who just did all. It's basically his sound completely. But there's this. You just get
not Lyle Ritz. No, not Lyle.
no, no, no. But you just get this lovely soft plectrum. And
Joe Osborne.
Sorry.
Joe Osborne.
Joe Osborne, that's it. Joe Osborne, that's the man. Joe Osborne, and you just get this. You just have these old strings, flat wound, and you have a soft plectrum, and that's the sound. And then you put a very gentle little tape delay on it, and that's the sound. That's it. That's it. Don't change the strings. You need to keep your strings on for 10 years. But yeah, the strings. I mean, that's something I learned only to do. I've learned to write strings. Only in the last 10 years. I couldn't read music 7 years ago. I started playing music when I was 19, and I was just in these kind of bands that were just basically punk bands. We called it punk funk back then, and they were just crazy bands that played very fast music and quite loud music, and that could only go on for so long. After a while, the thrill lasts for a couple of years, and then I was always listening to I was always listening to Pet Sounds. I was always listening to bits and pieces like that. But then we heard the Smile Sessions maybe when we were about 21, and we completely changed. We stopped playing the loud, fast music, and we said, let's work out how these songs go, and and then it took quite a long time for me to realise that you didn't have to just stick to a set of instruments. You can use the string sections, and we got string sections. We just got friends to play strings initially, just a few mates, and Marcus, who was my long-time collaborator, friend in the band. He's a cellist. He would write with me, and then after writing with Marcus for long enough, I learned how to actually write this stuff, and I learned how to actually sort of get this stuff down on paper, and and then from then I just extrapolated, and I went from just writing kind of what I would call static strings to moving strings, and that's basically because I was listening to a lot of obviously people, lots of different people, Frank Bridge, obviously Ravel. But listening to the way you arrange strings, I've listened very closely, and those little flourishes. And I remember talking to you about this a long time ago, and you sort of said, yeah, you can do anything. But I realised one of the things that you used to do an awful lot was just basically take a major triad and just chromatically run a major triad through maybe down a minor third and then up a minor third, but you'd have an anchored root, And
Are you accusing me of meandering?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I knew it. Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
And it's a great trick. It's a great trick. And then you realise that you've actually heard this on countless films, and you've heard it. I probably heard it in Porgy and Bess and all sorts of things.
To me, there is an art in cliche. That is the art that I am. That is where I am embedded. And the idea being, of course, it's not how big the gun, it's how good the shot. So these are the tools at my disposal. The art of cliche is what is to be desired, because, in fact, only thing beyond it is the residence I have in cliche. But so I try to use the power of cliche in a good way, but always with the afterthought that it must be an unsuable offense.
Yeah,